BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we're going to be answering about that team in our August 16th preseason football preview here at Big Country Preps. I'm with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom, and tonight, Dan, we're talking about the Haskell Indians.
And this is a Haskell team with some questions. This is year 3 in Coach Mitch McLemore's system. They've lost 13 of their 33 lettermen from last year's group, 5 starters returning on both sides of the ball. So there are some big question marks for this Haskell team this year. They're going to have some inexperience in some spots and going to need some guys to step up. But as always, it should be an interesting year over there with Coach Mitch McLemore.
All right, before we jump into tonight's countdown edition, we want to remind you YouTubers to please hit that subscribe button. Also hit the little bell, which will give you notifications every time we come up with a new podcast here at Big Country Preps. This will be a good way for you to follow our Countdown to Two-A-Days series, which we will continue all the way up to the outset of Two-A-Days, looking at one area team per day.
And let's just go ahead and jump in on today's team, the Haskell Indians, and start with one of the biggest questions I've got, and that's just kind of who's going to emerge as some of their playmakers this year. This is a group that lost probably their biggest last year in Marquise Johnson to graduation, and I think they're just going to have to find a way to move the football. They've got a kid in Grady Vasquez, a senior, who played some at quarterback last year. He has some experience coming in. They'll need him to take a big step forward, and then it's kind of who's going to kind of emerge around him as the guys that can make plays for him. I think that's going to be a big question. If Haskell's going to have the type of season they want to, they're going to have to find some kids to kind of be those playmaker type players.
One question I'd have about Haskell is if they can take advantage of the size that they've got. That's something that jumps off the page when you look at this year's Haskell team. They're not small. There's a number of kids that are 230 to 280 pounds, and they're going to be bigger than most Class 2A teams. So can they turn that into advantage? Get that push up front, which will take pressure off of those young skill players.
Yeah, I think question 1 and 2 kind of go hand in glove. I mean, I think if they can block, it's going to help those skill players for sure. And then question 3, I think this is a big one that's going to be kind of pressing, and one that I think they're going to have to answer is can they gain enough experience in the non-district portion of their play to be playing at their best by the time they're playing their most important games in district? I think that this is a group with a lot of youth, with a lot of inexperience, filling into some pretty key spots. They're going to need those kids to grow up quickly. Can they do it quickly enough to compete in a good district in District 7 2A D2?
Well, their non-district schedule, and we're going to take a look at that now. It's Haskell's schedule for 2023, and we'll take a look at non-district first. That is a challenging schedule with new home, Stanford and Olney especially right there. That's a very improved Olney team, and Stanford expecting big things with Coach Wayne Hutchinson coming back, and Anson's going to improve this year. No question about it. New Home was a playoff team last year. So this is that's a challenging non-district portion of the schedule for Haskell. They're going to have to grow up fast, but that's a good thing. You know, if they have to take their lumps early, that's a good thing. They'll need to, especially with Windthorst leading things off there in district.
Exactly. And this is a 7-team district, so you're jumping into district sooner than a lot of teams are. You only get those 4 teams to prepare. And like you said, they jump right into league play with a road game at Windthorst on September 22nd. So that'll be a difficult one there. Then they go host Petrolia on the 29th, go to Monday on October 6th, host Archer City on the 13th, go to Seymour on October 20th, and then wrap up their regular season schedule a week early with a home game against Electra before having their bye week in the final week of the season, which if they make the playoffs will be an advantage. If they don't, they'll be ending the season a week earlier than everyone else.
All right, with that, it's about time to wrap up tonight's edition of the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, the Haskell Indians. But before we do that, we want to remind you, August 16th is the big day here at Big Country Preps. That is the day we release our annual preseason football preview, which is just huge. It's enormous. You're going to see more than 40 team previews, more than 40 player features. You're going to see stats. You're going to see opinion pieces. You're going to see predictions and the best predictions of any media source in this area, actually in Texas, pertaining to this area. This is our turf, and we take a lot of pride in it.
In the meantime, thank you for joining us for this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Days series, and make sure you return tomorrow when we will highlight the Santo Wildcats here at BigCountryPreps.com.